Okay, we're going to another episode of On the Wrist from Off the Cuff. Today we have a really awesome review for you from the brand Milus. Now, a little bit about them. They were originally founded back in 1919 and were family owned for 3 full generations. But back in 2003, they were acquired by Chinese investors, only to later be pretty much bought back by Swiss watchmaking royalty, Luc Tissot. You might recognize the name. This happened back in 2016, and with that kind of that acquisition and being brought back, to Switzerland, they really made an effort to make sure that the Swiss-made, ethos really shone through. So although this does meet the requirements to bear Swiss made, it actually goes well above that, and they actually are quoted at being over 80% Swiss made. So just so some of you that might not know, you really only have to be 60% Swiss made and final assembly with a Swiss made movement, essentially, to rate that title. So it's nice that they're making a real conscious effort, obviously, to be competitive, but also have just that extra Swissness for those that care. Now, I'd say, to kind of summarize the brand, they're really trying to bring a new take on the attainable luxury market. And in a way, they're a 100-year-old startup with a very distinctly Swiss aesthetic. As far as the type of watch, I'd characterize this as an everyday watch. Some key common characteristics and design language when you're looking for something that can be worn every day, you're really just going to want that versatile blend of sporty and dressy attributes, which I think the Milus Snow Star really hits on the head. Now, this is the Milus Snow Star Black because it has the black dial. There's also a silver dial option, and this thing is awesome, guys. So with all that said, let's zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. All right, guys, here we go. Snow Star. This thing is an absolute drop dead gorgeous watch. I mean, it's a huge looker. A little bit about the history of this particular piece. It's a reissue of a 1940s classic that was designed for U.S. Navy pilots who carried a box containing a Milus watch and other precious objects to help them survive if they were ever forced to land in unknown territory. Basically, the items in the box were dedicated to help in their negotiations for information, their freedom, or even their lives. So just something of value to barter with. So really cool from that standpoint. Now, the pricing on this is actually $18.47 direct with all shipping, duties, and taxes covered by Milus, which is outstanding. The size is absolutely immaculate. 39 millimeter diameter with only a 9.8 millimeter height. This thing is thin, guys. Not only is it physically quite thin, it actually is visually very, very thin as well, even with that high polish. Man, look at that. That thing is just really quite beautiful. The lug to lug on here is 47.1, and this is actually made out of full 904L stainless steel. Some of you might know, hey, 904, that sounds familiar. Well, that's because that's pretty much the base for Rolex's Oyster Steel. And this thing is fully mirror polished. And when I say mirror polished, guys, this is really just gorgeously done. The finish, the luster that 904 takes is something very, very special. Not only from the material standpoint, but the actual level of finish is, I mean, it's up there, guys. I mean, it's almost looks like black polish, which is basically the Swiss version of Zaratsu polishing. So I did want to quickly show you guys the really nice carrying case that this comes in. So, and the nice thing is you can actually use it. You have a little couple slots there for warranty cards. You get this nice little kind of overlap piece. They come separated. You get the watch head, you get the watch straps, and essentially what you can do is you can use this for travel, because you can just have it like this, slide it in, and there you have it. Boom. Zip that up, take it with you. So I thought that was a really nice touch, quite useful, capable, and obviously really, really finely done. So nice from that standpoint. Also, guys, just well, some of you are probably thinking it, the buckle also fully mirror polished 904 So, ooh, man, that is beautifully, just excellent, guys. Let's go ahead and get this off camera here, and let's focus on the main event. All right. So a little about this, you have, you know, of course, that beautiful sapphire crystal. It is domed with inner AR coating. Really nice. You only get a bit of distortion at the very harshest angles, but even then, I mean, it's actually kind of a uniform distortion. So it almost, I'd consider it visual play, you know, so almost a positive there, just because it is a fairly stark layout. But really quite gorgeous. I mean, this thing is absolutely epic in hand. I love that it is a strap monster. As much as I love bracelets, guys, it's nice to get a watch every once in a while that is only available on a strap, because you don't have to feel guilty about taking it off of the bracelet. So hey, for me, this was an absolute you know, value when I ordered it. This is something I've had on my eye on for quite a while, and you know, I was very fortunate to be able to get one, so I was really happy about that. Now, it does have inner AR coating, so that's something where it's going to differ from Rolex, although it has the same steel. Rolex typically will not do an inner or any type of AR coating, because they like their watches to be blinky and shiny and reflective. Here, of course, under the studio lights, there's going to be quite a few reflections to capture, but generally out in the sun and everything, this is actually a really well executed AR coating on this crystal. It is domed, which does add more reflections in general, and then of course, being, you know, in between two big bright studio lights, it does offer a lot of reflection, but I think it's negotiating those reflections really, really well. Now, the bezel is fixed and also mirror polished. The crown is a non-screw down crown, but it's really nicely signed there, as you can see. Man, look at that. That thing is thin. It's beautifully thin. Now, the movement inside, although you can't see it, is an automatic ETA 2892, and it's gorgeous. It's a top grade. You can't see it. There's pictures on the website. Check that out if you want to see it. It's basically fully decorated, blued screws, and basically a custom rotor. Now, for the case back, it is solid, screw down, and engraved. As far as the dial goes, it has that sun ray brushed black dial, full applied indices, and the indices themselves even do have some nice texturing on them, so they're going to catch light in different ways and play with it. So really nice from that standpoint as well. You do have the date at the traditional 3 o'clock position, but where they kind of go off from the traditional and get a little bit retro with it is they actually do have red font over the white disc, beautifully framed, so nice balance, nice feeling of kind of completion on the dial. And then those hands, polished Dauphine hands, diamond cut and rhodium plated. And then this does have 100 meters of water resistance, or 330 feet. And I have to say, guys, the crown action on this watch is impeccable. One of the best crowns I've ever used. You pull that thing out, there's no wobble. It's just, you can see why it's water resistant, because of just the tolerances and the tightness. I mean, I was blown away. Now, as far as the lugs go, you have 20 millimeter lugs, and then it comes with this really nice textile strap with leather lining, and then of course it's non-tapering, but man, this thing is pretty nice. It also does have quick release spring bars and this beautifully done clasp, you know, tang buckle, which is really beautiful and quite reflective and well executed. So with that said, let's actually get this piece on wrist to see how it wears. Okay guys, as you can see on my 7¼ inch wrist, this thing wears really outstanding. Even up close, doesn't really seem oversized. I do like the strap tones. You have that nice dark green with the black leather, kind of a two-tone experience, that beautiful buckle. This thing looks sweet, and honestly, with the 20 millimeter lugs and the really, really thin profile, this is going to be an absolute strap monster. So for those of you who are wondering what this might look like on a NATO strap, I have a surprise for you. I'm going to do a whole video on it, guys, just because this thing is awesome. So, you know, I'll probably do like a Bond strap face off. We'll get the traditional Bond straps in a couple different hues and finishes, and then also the modern Bond being the black and gray versus the black, green, and red. And we'll get that together for you guys very, very soon. So definitely stay tuned for that, because this thing, ultra versatile, man, just looks absolutely outstanding. Wears outstanding. This is just a really beautiful watch. You know, there's no lume on it or anything like that, but it's just one of those beautiful everyday pieces. I love how flat it is. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. On the wrist. This is gonna fit underneath the cuff easily, guys. Look at the thinness. And it's not just some thin, dainty dress piece. It feels like a tool watch. You know, it has that anti-corrosive stainless steel, that 904L, good enough for Rolex, good enough for Milus, and that's outstanding. I love that sunbrush, just that faint hints of gray that you get. Just add some dimension. This thing is just gorgeous, guys. I'm gushing over it because, yeah, I'm feeling it. This one is lovely. So let's actually get it off the wrist, and although there's no lume, what we can do is get some low light transition shots. All right, guys, just to entice you to tune back in and catch the official kind of strap showcase slash Bond, premium Bond face-off, I thought I would throw it on this gorgeous crown and buckle chevron strap in the new Bond color scheme with the black and gray stripes. Really gorgeous, but there's no lume. But you know what? There is some time for some low light transition. So with that said, let's see how this thing renders in less than optimal direct sunlight. As you can see, very nice black dial. Look at the way you're getting a little better idea now of the gradation in the dial and that beautiful sunburst pattern. You're seeing a little bit of that AR coating there from some of the harsher conditions on the lighting. Really quite beautiful. Look at the luster in this case. That is killer. Oh, boom. Ah. Beautiful sapphire crystal. And you can see this dial is just a sight to see, guys. I dig this dial. Man, that is a looker. And of course you get some harsher lighting in there, some higher contrast lighting. You're gonna bring out more life from that dial. But typically it's just gonna look very black. So let's get into some closing thoughts, guys. On the wrist, this thing has really classic, just perfect proportions, very comfortable, balanced wear, extremely low profile, which makes it perfect for NATOs because you are going to have that layer or two underneath the watch case in between your wrist and the case back. So with this, you can wear it on a NATO and it's thin enough and it has the beautiful soft curves and contours on that case profile where it's still going to hug your wrist and feel really, really planted. Now, as far as model variations go on this one, of course, it's also available with that nice warm silver dial, which looks really gorgeous and definitely has more of, I'd say, a vintage vibe, although here I think this black dial is just going to be a little bit more versatile. Now, as far as comparable models go, guys, I mean, you could say, I mean, this thing is so well finished and so well done, I would have to start with comparing it to something like a Tudor Black Bay 36. Now, that's not going to be 904L stainless steel. That's going to be your typical 316L. And those are going to be, they're going to go for around $29.50. The Black Bay 41, right? Because this is a 39 millimeter, so not quite a 36, not quite a 41, somewhere in between. But if you want to get into the 41 Black Bay, that is going to be $3,000 and $3,050 essentially. And then I'm sure some of you were thinking as soon as you saw this, Monte Triumph, right? Or maybe the Noble line that's coming out. Those are around $1,700. And they also come with stainless steel bracelets, but they're not in 904L. So that's definitely kind of the trade-off there. You know, I love Monta and what they've been able to do. Their bracelets are amazing. But honestly, as beautiful as those watches are, I just feel like I'm doing something wrong taking them off the bracelet because the bracelets are so good. So it's really nice to have an option like this. I think it's a little bit complimentary where I can have a kind of a dedicated strap monster, you know, and I don't have to worry about the bracelet because this thing is just something else, especially with that fully polished, high mirror polished case, and that beautiful luster that you get from the 904 is really just something to behold. So I'm very, very impressed from that standpoint. Now, guys, bottom line, this thing is drop dead gorgeous. It's actually ultra versatile, and it's honestly a strap monster. Again, with that thinness, it's just, it opens so many doors that get cracked closed when you start wearing sports watches. And, you know, as much as a nice, whether it's a single pass, double pass, whatever nylon strap you're going to put on it, those doors kind of close for you when you have these bigger, bulkier watches. Just recently, I reviewed the new kind of quote-unquote baby Alpinist, and a lot of people were like, hey, get rid of the display case back and make this thing thinner, right? And hey, here's something in that range. I mean, for more money, of course, but it does offer, I mean, really just cream of the crop when it comes to non-in-house movements when you think about this level of the 2892 top grade. So it has that thinness, which helps and plays into the case. Although it does have 100 meters of water resistance, it's not overdoing it. It's not adding anything it doesn't need. It's just that really nice kind of sweet spot, right? And if you're not too worried about water sports anyway, then you have nothing to worry about, and you're just going to have something that feels more robust than a dress watch, and definitely more versatile. Like, this is, from me, everyday type piece. It'd be nice if it had lume, of course, but you know, again, this can skew in either direction. It can be really quite dressy, but it can also be quite sporty at the same time. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do hit like, and if you haven't, please subscribe for more content just like this. And do not forget, guys, stay tuned. I'm gonna drop the upcoming strap face-off Bond, best premium Bond NATO strap video soon, and I'll be featuring this Milus Snow Star because, hey, why not? All right, so let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.